Hello and welcome to Microsoft Hates Greg. My name is Greg Deckler, and to go along with my last two videos, the 100 million flat versus star schema and the Vertipack engine under the hood, I posted this poll on what is the size of your largest fact table, right? And they came out fairly as pretty much I expected it would. Um, but 86% of people, right? You have to understand these are people that are voting on this. 86% of people, do not have a fact table that is, a billion rows. Okay. So only 14% of people fall outside of that 100 million, flat versus star schema, that order of magnitude. Only 14% of people. Now, when you try to, then if you're going to translate that to semantic models, it's going to be significantly less than that, right? Like I've dealt with dozens, if not hundreds, of data of semantic models, right? And I would fall into that same category. I have had some test ones that have been a billion, but not real world. Nothing real world that's been a billion. So they've all, and we're talking hundreds of them. So even those 14% of those people are all, 100% of their fact tables over a billion, probably not, right? Or the people that are voting that are under a billion, right? Do they manage, one fact table, or is it, 20 or 100, right? So the actual percentage of actual semantic models that are probably, out there that are over a billion rows is probably probably a tiny percentage, right? Probably talking like 1% or less of semantic models out there. So that begs the question, right? If by putting your data from a flat table into a star schema, right, you're adding some complexity, and you're actually slowing down the performance of it. Like, why are we doing this, right? You have to at least ask yourself the question, right? There's other reasons why star schemas are good, right? For one, like I showed, there was like the star schema had took up 25% less disk space than the flat schema, right? The flat schema took up 10% more memory than it, in memory database size than the star schema, right? Refresh times. I did some refresh experiments, and refreshing took about 22 minutes or so with the star schema, and it took like 30 or so for the about 50% longer for the flat table. So the flat table definitely refreshes slower. Although, yeah, half an hour for a bill, for a 100 million rows isn't the end of the world, I suppose. And that's in import mode. But yeah, I mean, there are reasons to use a star schema. The performance of it at less than a billion rows, I don't see it, at least not in my benchmark testing. And again, in the description of this video, as well as the last two, there's a link right to my OneDrive folder where you can get all of the files, the backup of the SQL Server database, and all of that sort of stuff. You can independently verify and repeat their experiments that I did, and draw your own conclusions and post about it. And if you find something where, oh, Greg, you messed this up and you should have done it this way, absolutely, right? That's how we arrive at a conclusion that everyone concurs about, not by putting benchmarks out there that aren't repeatable and you can't independently verify, right? We need to do better as a community, in my opinion, around that. So practice what I preach. It's all out there for you to use. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, it's interesting. I understand it's best practice, and yes, there's other reasons to use a star schema, but the actual performance of it doesn't seem to be one of those things. So that's all I had for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.